The last-minute Brexit is making waves in Bremerhaven's deep-sea fishing industry. The trawlers are currently unable to sail and are making losses. But that's not all. In Bremerhaven, deep-sea fishing trawlers are currently stuck in the port. They are not allowed to venture into Norwegian waters, where they would normally be at this time of the year. The reason is the agreement between the EU and the non-EU country Norway, which expired in January. And Brexit is to blame for this, at least indirectly. And the deal has other ramifications for fishermen. What does fishing off Norway have to do with Brexit? Norway and Greenland have concluded fisheries agreements with the EU. However, both were not extended at the beginning of January because of the Brexit negotiations between the UK and the EU had lasted so long. First of all, it had to be determined who was allowed to catch how much fish from British waters. This question was not resolved by Christmas Eve, just a week before the hard Brexit would have come. Since there was no such agreement, Norway and Greenland refused to negotiate because the basis was unclear. And what does that mean for the deep-sea fishermen in Bremerhaven and Cuxhaven? The trawlers have been in the port since the beginning of January with nothing done, says Uwe Richter, head of the Doggerbank Seefischerei from Bremerhaven. His ships usually catch cod, haddock and saithe of Norway. For us, that of course means that we can't earn anything at the moment. And for the seafarers who are employed on the ships, there is currently no operation. We have to try to bridge the gap, but of course there are financial losses. Some fishermen can switch to other waters, for example, those from the Kutterfischzentrale in Cuxhaven. They are sailing in Scottish waters now. We fish off the Shetlands, says Managing Director Kai-Arne Schmidt. However, the journey time of 60 hours each way is different from the 24 hours to Norway. Given the high diesel consumption, these are several thousand euros additional costs per trip. When is a solution in sight? Talks between the EU and Norway start this week. Richter hopes his people will be able to get going again by the end of the month. It may happen by the end of January, then the losses will be limited, says Richter. But if that takes any longer, it would be difficult for us. Kutterfish boss Schmidt is convinced that the fishing dispute with Great Britain will rocket again in the next few years. He believes that the British will want to negotiate again in 2026 when the current agreement expires. What other consequence does Brexit have for fishermen? The Brexit agreement itself is of great concern to the fishermen because it provides that European fishermen will be allowed to catch 25% less than before in British waters over the next 5.5 years. Schmidt is happy that there is an agreement at all after the long hanging game, but sees serious cuts in the industry. A quarter catch even means 30% sales, he explains. The English are not stupid. They chose the expensive types of fish, such as hake, cod, haddock, anglerfish, and not the spread, as an example, says Schmidt. For us in Bremerhaven and Cuxhaven, that means take at least one ship out of fishing. Not nice. Are there any bright spots? Not all fishermen are equally affected. German coastal fishermen who mainly catch crabs are lucky, explains Ralf Döring from the Thünen Institute for Sea Fisheries in Bremerhaven, because their catch is not regulated by the EU. Deep sea fisheries are hardest hit because the quota of the main catches of herring and mackerel, previously caught mainly in British waters, is now failing. But The Economist also says, given what British Prime Minister Boris Johnson first asked for, things could have been worse. If you compare that with what was threatened, namely that we will lose 80% of the quota, then the result looks better than the worst case. And there's another light on the horizon, because the EU is most probably, when everyone has agreed finally, handing over 455 million to Germany to compensate, for example, for the losses of these fishermen because of Brexit. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel and my other channels. I'll see you on my next video. Auf Wiedersehen.